Welcome to On Point for Tuesday, December 10th. I'm Andy Martins. We're live on TV. We're live on Facebook. My guest today is Daniel Laprade, president and owner of KC Security. We're going to do a kind of a review of 2019 and see how things have gone in various things. And Daniel's an important guy around here. He's the sponsor of the Mornings with Tim and Luann. So we'll be back with him right after these commercial messages. We're back on Point, Andy Martins for Tuesday, December 10th. And my guest is Daniel Laprade. He's a great guy, and those watching, we did the federal election in October, and he's back. We're going to have to talk about 2019. Daniel, welcome back to On Point.
Thanks, Andy. As always, it's always nice to be back.
Where is the year gone, my friend? Where it's coming off the table. Let's start with talking about the review of your business, the security business. How has it changed in 2019?
Well, 2019 was started off very, very well. We did grow significantly in both here in Sault Ste. Marie and Elliott Lake. Got more clients, put more cars on the road, stuff like that. And in May, we actually brought on a platform for alarm response called Responder out of Toronto. They're out of the GTA, which is new technology we're able to bring here to Sault Ste. Marie. Basically, we can take all these alarm calls via the app, and the technology is really advanced. So that was a good thing that we were approached by them in May, as well as some new clients throughout the summer. But then, of course, near the end of the year is when we hit a couple of bumps.
Right. Well, the ebb and flow tide, peaks and valleys, and that's what Bill Gates had to come through with Microsoft. But I think this city has made a lot of strides in 2019 with the new logo, Future Sault Ste. Marie, all these things. What do you think? Do you feel better being in Sault Ste. Marie at the end of 2019 than you did a year ago?
I would put it somewhere in the middle. Some of the stuff that we're working on is great. I think we need to shift our priorities to some things. And of course, the ferrochrome smelter plant, that's obviously an ongoing issue. Whatever side you're on, either for it or against it, that's taken a lot of the spotlight of the other things that have happened in the city. Because yes, there is some positives, obviously, and negatives. You're going to get that no matter where you are.
But the mayor has played it out properly. He's got a game plan. Let the process play out. Let those environmental assessments be done. And I really don't see the panic of these people in the city about the Faircombe plant. Yes, we get it, but let the process play out. And mayor and council can kill this project at any time.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, we are still 5 to 6 years out before even getting a shovel on the ground, from what I understand. So these things need to happen. It's not, a foregone conclusion. So that being said, I mean, we got to just kind of wait and see. But people are just, they're voicing their opinions and their feelings towards it now, right, in the early stages. Because I'm pretty sure that was part of Norront's reasoning for picking us, is they felt that there was support here.
Right.
Part of one of their reasons, rather. Whereas Sudbury, there wasn't the level of support they were looking for.
Well, Sudbury didn't have that support. I was looking at things going back to 2012,
right.
And Sudbury really didn't want the Faircombe plant at all, did they?
No, it sounds like they didn't, and they passed on it. Timmins really wants the plant, right? As you know, they've put out
Right.
another request that they wanted to, if Sault Ste. Marie doesn't want it, we'll take it. But Norront seems to be firm that they want to continue to work with Sault Ste. Marie.
But having said that, the politicians, and I've been in politics behind the scenes for a long time, and as you know, I ran for council, politicians have to be cognizant in a general way of how the public, this Faircombe plant, how it was received. And I don't think they have been in a general way, because they need to deal with the good and bad of this project, is what I'm saying. And I don't see them dealing with the positive. They came, but you got to deal with the negative as well.
You do. You got to deal with both sides, like any project, right? It's going to receive scrutiny. Nothing that council does is usually met with, praise from all sides, right? There's always something that's, there's going to be both sides. For example, the budget last night, right? Yeah, so I mean, you have to look at both sides of, and look at the facts.
Right.
That's what's important, and let the process play out. For me, I'll make my decision when I see those, right? For what side I'm going to. I mean, that's the only way you can do it at this point.
Well, the budget is probably the toughest time for a councillor, because you really got to read the budget, and if you're not a financial analyst type, you got to really bear down and make the right calls. So it's probably the busiest and the toughest time for councillors.
It is, and I did watch a good portion of that budget deliberation, and there's only select councillors that bring forward ideas and whatnot to kind of
Right.
shorten the impact of or lessen the impact of the increase, whereas some are okay with just spending
Right.
like it's going out of style, right? So you got to kind of balance that between the priorities of what needs to be done right away,
Right.
and then what can be what can wait, right?
Let's keep in mind, though, that council does not, there's only a portion of the total budget that they're responsible for. There's a lot of it that council doesn't have any say on.
That's right. The outside levies, the police, fire, stuff like that, they don't have a control over that. And, salaries, and stuff like that take up majority of those budgets.
Right.
But I'm never one that's against, giving our police or firefighters more money to do their jobs, right? Because they're already stressed enough as it is and stretched thin. So, I don't have any issues with that. It's just where the other items that are maybe supplementaries are not as important. Those ones, you got to kind of decide what's more important now for 2020, or what can wait till maybe 2021 or 2022.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. In such, where do you see the city going in the next year? Fast forward 12 months. Do you see Sault Ste. Marie making a lot more progress in the next year, or?
Well, I mean, it's you know, we got to address the fact that, you know, we've lost some jobs, right? We've lost Sutherland, we're losing a Jarrow,
Right.
you know, so there's definitely, you know, some things that have happened that aren't positive, right? And losing jobs is not good. I mean, overall, I think we was 71,500 across Canada last month.
Right.
Which is not good. So, and I'm in that boat. You know, we're going to face some job losses most likely. You know,
Right.
but I mean, that's just that's the reality of business. It's up and down, and you know, I'm hoping that we can have a good 2020, and I'm trying to maintain a positive outlook on that now. And I hope that the city can attract more people here, like, can get our tax base up. Right, that will take the pressure off.
And exactly, we have no two anchors are gone at Station Mall. Sooner or later, they're going to have to make a decision on that mall. Do you make it condos? Or I can't see it continuing the way it is for the next 5 years.
No, I agree. I do think that you know, there's some people down there that are trying to do some good work. You know, but I mean, you got to have some anchor stores. I mean, Wellington Square Mall is going to be getting a giant Tiger, right?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, they are, but Giant Tiger, I checked into that. They don't seem to want to commit, and they do not have it up on the website. But I was clearly told,
you were told,
it's April 2020, and people there in the mall, it's going to be all revamped. But
right.
I don't know why Giant Tiger's hoping. The only thing I can think of is basically there might be a delay in the agreement. They have to come to an agreement with Food Basics. And they were going to do some stuff for them, so that's probably holding it up. But I think Sault Ste. Marie is a great place to live. Look at people struggling in Toronto. There was a recent report. I think we're positioned very well to keep attracting people from Southern Ontario and the rest of the province to come to this community.
Well, yeah, look, I mean, we have, you know, we have such, you know, great qualities that we do need to promote, right? Like, you know, you can come here, you can live here, you drive 10-15 minutes, you're in nature, you know, you've got all these beautiful lakes and beaches around here. If you're like fishing, hunting, winter activities, skiing, like, yes, we do have a lot of positives, right? So we need to promote that to those people that, hey, you know, you can come to Sault Ste. Marie and your commute is 10 minutes maybe, you know, and as opposed to sitting in rush hour traffic in GTA.
Right, but you're right, Dan. We got to have the jobs to go along with it. You got to attract the employers too.
Yes, you do.
And that's not that hard to do. You sell the employers. Big companies like to come into small cities. So listen, let's take a break. Stay right there, and we'll be back right after these commercial messages.
Recently, the Government of Ontario established a $100 million affordability fund to help Ontarians who don't qualify for low-income conservation programs ease the burden of their electricity bill. Whether you rent or own your home, as long as you pay your electric bill, you could qualify. There are 3 levels of support available. The first is a home energy kit with upgrades like smart power bars and LED light bulbs. The second includes Energy Star appliances that help keep things cool during the hot summer months. The third is for electrically heated homes so that your power bills don't break the bank during those long Canadian winters. Plus, all upgrades, including installation, are completely free of charge. Visit affordabilityfund.org or call 1-855-494-FUND to find out if you qualify.
Welcome back to On Point. We're live on TV. We're live on Facebook for Tuesday, December the 10th. We're talking to Daniel LaPrade. He's a big, important guy around here. He's president of KC Security. And, you know, he makes people feel safe, and it's part of his business. Welcome back to On Point, Dan.
Thank you very much, Andy.
No problem. Let's talk about this theme that we talked about before the commercial break. Big companies moving into smaller communities. I've brought this point out to a few councillors, and I think it's a realistic point. Mars Corporation is Canadian headquarters are in Bolton, Ontario, which is, you know, relatively small city,
right,
or give or take. I don't know the exact population off the top of my head. But again, I see this developing because the people in the city are selling big corporations that it would be to their advantage for them to relocate because their workforce would be happier other than being in Toronto or, you know, in the GTA. What do you think? Is that an overreach for this community, or can we do the same thing?
No, I think that's very realistic, and that's true. You know, you can sell that to people, their quality of life here, like we mentioned in the last part before the break. You know, with all the amenities we have, all the stuff around here, that's going to keep your workforce happy. On the other side of the coin too, for depending on what company it is, you know, Sault Ste. Marie is right smack in the middle of the country, you know, right, geographically. So, you know, we could, you know, you got so many options. You've got the, you know, rail, you've got shipping. You know, you're an hour flight away from, an hour and a half, right, give or take, flight away from like major centers like Toronto. So I mean, there's a lot of positives in that sense, right? If I'm a big company, and I do believe there were some of our city staff that were going down to, you know, try to recruit workers, right, from like GM, you know, in those areas when they were struggling. Right. So that is good. That's positive, to try and, you know, get some talent down here. But also it'd be nice if we can get the actual companies to come down, right, and maybe set up an office.
And government should get back into it too. I mean, I wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for the government relocation of OLG in 1990, and I'm glad I came because it's a great place to raise a family and great jobs. My wife got hired 4 months before we relocated in January of 1990, and you know, people don't know. It might look like, oh man, I can't go up there, that's too far, but you know, you don't know until you get there, and you might really love it, and that's what has been the case for almost 30 years. So people have to gamble a little bit with their lives.
Yeah, you're right, and I mean, that's true with the government and the OLG having, you know, head office here at one point, the full operations, right? You know, it would be nice to be able to get more jobs like that, whether it's provincial or, you know, private,
exactly,
or,
yeah,
you know, like that way we can have more government people coming down this way, and then they set up their family, like you said. That's
exactly.
Yeah. And you've stayed here. See, you haven't left.
30 years, and I have a house that I wouldn't have in Toronto, I'll tell you that.
That's right.
So it's benefited me, and we need to sell it that way. It's a benefit for you. Try it out. You might like it. Let's move on, Dan, and talk about all these scams. And you know, it's timely because I must have had about 7 phone calls last night, and I block every one of them.
Yep.
Could that be a bonus for you as owner of a security company to sell that and maybe get more clients in residential protection? And all the drugs and the break-ins, people are scared more in 2019 than they were, let's say, 5 years ago. What do you think? Is that an opening for you to expand your business?
As for the scams, I don't know how I can do that with the phones and stop that. I share your frustration because all day, every day, whether it's my personal cell or the business line, I have numbers calling me from across the world. You'd think I was a politician. The phone doesn't stop. And
Donald Trump's assistant.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know any people in this country or that country, so I'm blocking the numbers. And then they call through, or you've won this, or your computer needs that, or all you've heard them all, right?
Right.
So I don't know how much I can do there, but in regards to the break-ins and the residents and stuff like that, like you said, people are feeling unsafe. We do have all kinds of patrol options and things that we can do it helped people.
Do you have options for people that might be viewing the show, and options in case somebody's interested in that?
Yeah, well, I mean, we have general patrols that we can do, right, for your residents. So, say your house, right, you want it checked at night, or even if you're there, we can still do that. Or we have vacation patrols when you're away. That's actually very popular at this time of year because people go away, right? The snowbirds.
Right.
So we have a couple of our regular clients now. They've emailed me. They're going to sign up there, for another couple of weeks when they go away. Those are important, and of course, if you've got an alarm system, have alarm response set up, right?
Right.
Those are a couple of things you can do. I mean, obviously, there's other things you can do, that don't involve hiring us, right? Like making sure that you have lights on timers. Making sure you don't have hedges around your property that are blocking windows and things like that, right? Like those are things. In the wintertime, it's a bit different. And the summertime, because the summertime they have more access to, whereas snow might block some areas.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just thinking in terms of an alarm system. Let's say somebody's viewing right now and thinking, well, I need to maybe get an alarm system or hire KC Security to patrol my house. Which would be a more cost-effective thing? Can you make your business more cost-effective than somebody having to go and buy get an alarm system?
Well, an alarm system will have an upfront cost normally, right, for installation. We don't deal with that side of things. Normally we deal with a partner.
Right.
However, the monthly monitoring, usually ranges in between the $25 to $30 range, and and then you would pay per alarm response, right? So that is definitely cost efficient for a lot of people, but patrol wise too, depending on what you do, right? It could be a couple $100s a month or even less, right? Depending on how many patrols you want. So it all depends on what level of service you're looking for. Some people they have cameras, an alarm, they have us patrolling. It's like Fort Knox, right? But that's just because they want that level of protection. Whereas some people, they're fine with the alarm and the alarm response.
Have you had people that have said to you, like they're considering hiring you or getting an alarm? Like that could be a possibility?
Yes, absolutely. And, and I don't ever, it's up to them. I basically, say what we can do with the patrols and then what the alarm system does, right? The alarm system is important, but the physical patrols are also good because they're a deterrent. Cameras are nice to have too, but they often don't deter the criminals. They'll do it regardless. That's good for after the fact, so you have footage. But if you're employing all these things together, or working, cohesively, whether we're working with an alarm company that might be monitoring cameras, so they'll call us and say, hey, there's somebody on this property, can you go check this out, right? There's a lot of ways that we can work with the technology too.
I guess car dealerships are an important piece of it, and I know you have a few dealerships that you patrol. That's important for the owner to have that, isn't it?
It is. A lot of the things we do there, like checking vehicles to make sure that there's no car keys left in them and stuff like that, that helps with their insurance, because if there was ever a problem, right, we've prevented it, because somebody could come on the lot and steal a vehicle. So that sometimes the car dealerships don't understand that when you're first telling them, but then you show them like, okay, this is what we can do, and you sell them on the service, and then once they have it, they don't want to go back, because it's like we're basically double checking for them, right? In case they're salespeople, they're car lot people, they miss checking a car, we're going to make sure that we find it.
So it's a hard sell. They don't think they need any security and everything's fine, or you gotta maybe sell them a little bit smarter, work harder to get these dealerships.
It's and even not just the dealerships. In general, selling security is almost like selling insurance, because they don't think they need it, but then something happens and then, oh, I should have had it. So it's kind of, I compare it to that.
Is it a challenge to sell security and to people and say, look, this would benefit you to have me coming in and patrolling the area?
It can be. There's some clients I've got now that it's taken me like 3-4 years to get them on board, right? Just checking in here and there. They don't want to, they don't want it at the time, or maybe they can't afford it. But circumstances change, right? So then we were able to sign them up. But it's definitely not easy to sell it. I don't like the cold calling aspect, so I don't tend to do that a lot. It's better to go in person or maybe send an email or drop off a brochure or whatever you got to do.
It's like selling commercials for on TV and see online. It's sales. Any type of sales is not very
That's right.
simple. It's a lot of hard work.
Yo, you're right, exactly.
Daniel, the time has run out on us. Thank you so much for coming in, and Happy New Year and Merry Christmas, and we'll see you in 2020. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Andy. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you as well.
Thank you very much. We'll be back to wrap up the show right after these messages.
This is On TV.
In your home, lighting is just as important as style.
With PowerView Motorization from Hunter Douglas, you can schedule your shades to light up the room. Create privacy, or both, automatically. No hands required.
So your shades will always be in the right place at the right time in style. And it's only from Hunter Douglas.
That's good.
We're back on ONNPoint. Thank you to Daniel Laprade for coming in, the owner of KC Security, and we hope you've enjoyed all the shows in 2019. We have 2 more left next week. Until then, I'm Andy Martins for ONNPoint. We'll see you next time. Take care.